Well, there are lots of benefits to the limited partnership structure. I always tend to break it down into three main benefits. The first being sharing of the firm profits. About a third of our advisors are limited partners, which means they own the firm, and about a third of our employees also have an ownership stake in the firm. So it's at the end of the year, we share 100% of those profits back with those qualifying advisors, qualifying employees, and it's a nice benefit, but a far, far greater benefit is just the culture that the structure enables. We are 100% employee advisor owned, so we're on the same side as the advisors, doing what is best for them, their practice, and ultimately their clients, versus doing what is best for shareholder value. We don't have to worry about that, share price, or just pumping up numbers in anticipation of a sale. And also when it comes to the culture, our advisors, they love coming to this conference. We have about 500 people here, and about 150 of them are limited partners, and about 100 of them actually fly in a day early, and they have their own meeting. They organize it themselves. They pay for it themselves. It's on their own time, their own dime. And they just tell me how refreshing it is to walk into a room with 100 people, like-minded professionals. And a lot of them, after 2-3 years, they all know each other. They really don't even need name tags. And they just tell me how refreshing that is, in contrast to oftentimes where they came from. And that's a firm with, they walk into a room with 800-900 people, and they might know 3 or 4 in the entire room. So, and I think that's become very important to advisors. As I talk to advisors looking at United Planners, especially the last 2 or 3 years, they often tell me that the firm that they joined 5, 10, 15 years ago, it's not the same firm today. Sometimes figuratively speaking, in terms of the culture, sometimes literally speaking, it's not the same firm. And so that has become very important in the last few years, and that brings me to probably the greatest benefit of that structure, and that is that structure makes it difficult, maybe even impossible, for this firm to ever be sold. There's not one person in this entire organization that can control the future fate or destiny of the firm, and so that was designed that way for that very reason. Back in 1987, the founder of the firm, he wanted to design a firm that had a structure in place that would make it impossible for us to ever be a target for any kind of a takeover, and that has served us very well. And that theory was actually put to the test 20 years later in 2007. We were the general partner was owned by a rather large insurance company. They reached out to 2 or 3, at the time, very large broker-dealers, and they couldn't figure out how to get the sale done. And that was very interesting to have a very large insurance company, a couple of large broker-dealers putting their heads together, and they couldn't figure out how to get it done. And so that served us very well the last 15 years with mergers, consolidations, acquisitions, private equity. And so United Planners has kind of been that sweet little landing spot for advisors that are tired of seeing their firms constantly sold. Well, we've made several improvements in workplace culture, workplace morale the last few years. We've always had a very caring culture, a very family-like culture. We work hard, we play hard. We have a small town feel, but we have kind of big time benefits. As an example, in 2020, we set up a new entity that is 100% owned by the employees, and that entity has an ownership stake in the broker-dealer. So that's been very well received. We have a flexible work environment that they appreciate, and we also really take into account their input. We do one big annual survey. That is not a meaningless HR exercise. We really do implement some of their ideas, suggestions, and we also a couple times throughout the year have smaller surveys dedicated to a particular topic. We also have a Reach Up committee that puts together all of our employee events for the year, puts together community outreach. Our employees love to help people in need. And one thing we're doing this year, we're doing an employee retreat, a 4-day employee retreat, and that'll be in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So that'll serve as a reward for everything they've done the last 2-3 years. There'll be some team building activities involved, and it'll just generally just serve as an unforgettable experience for our employees. So whether it's something big like that, even just small things, it's not uncommon to walk into our office and be greeted by a couple of dogs. So employees, that really just lifts employees up. It creates a great work environment, and that was reflected. Actually, yesterday I just announced that United Planters was the recipient of the Arizona Top Places to Work in the state of Arizona. So we're real proud of what we've done the last 2-3 years, and I think the employees really appreciate what they see at United Planters.